Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Bedford Township for September 20th, 2022. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, if Pastor Rob Malik could open us up in prayer with Engaged Life Church. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Paul. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you thanking you for who you are, thanking you for your Son, Jesus, and for your Spirit, the Holy Spirit, which lives inside of all of us. And so I just want to give you thanks for the people here that make decisions for this community. I want to lift up this community, the community of Bedford, to you, that we are looking to you in all things. And Lord, I just pray that we'll be a community that loves one another. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and we just need to love one another. And I pray that we do that starting now, even before now, but starting now and going forward. We love you and we praise you and we thank you for all the things that you have done for us, all the things you're doing for us, and all the things that you're going to do for us. We pray this in the holy and precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Appreciate you being here. Okay, item number 2 is approval of the agenda. We need to remove 8D. Per the chief. Do you have any questions, comments?
Where are we moving it to?
Removing it.
Oh, remove it. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the removal of 8D. Support.
Okay, motion in support of Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Perrone?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 3, the consent agenda. The agenda committee recommends to approve and place on file A, minutes of the September 6, 2022, the regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. B, general, savings, pooled funds, and CD reports from the treasurer for August 2022. C, revenue, expense report and balance sheet for the period ending August 31st, 2022. D, the resignation of Charles Sheeb from the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, effective immediately.
Motion to approve the consent agenda is submitted.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Mr. Gore. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Perrone?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 4, we have presentations, Monroe County Sheriff's Department update. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, I'm Lieutenant Dan Zebek. I know most of you in the crowd, but some of you I don't. So traditionally, I know that Under Sheriff Pauly addresses this meeting. However, he had a conflict with tonight's board meeting, so I was elected to take care of that for you folks. This month of August, the contract deputies assigned to the Bedford Township exclusively handled a total of 502 criminal complaints, 50 supplemental investigation reports, a total of 155 assists, served 14 paper service, conducted a total of 223 traffic stops, policed 32 crashes, issued 39 citations, with a total of 24 arrests, and we sought warrants for 22 individuals. For a total of 793.5 hours of complaint time, 535 and a half hours of patrol time, 334 and a quarter hours of other, for a total of 1,663 hours for the month of August. A couple things worth noting. We received a couple complaints, one being Erie Road for truck traffic. I surmise that it was the result of some of the construction that is going on Samaria Road for the pavement. It's diminished a little bit, but this week they continued to resurface areas near Douglas and Jackman. So that has increased, but we've deployed resources to hopefully combat the speed and some of the truck traffic in those areas. Additionally, Kimberly Oaks subdivision was brought to our attention for speed complaints in the afternoon hours, mostly when school lets out. Again, we put some resources there. I can say that most of the speed is under the limit. However, our exposure, according to the citizens in that area, has drastically reduced some of the, I guess, what we would consider careless driving in that area. So our presence has helped, although we've not had to enforce anything. I think just our mere presence in there. We are developing some plans for some of the other subdivisions as a result of the impact that it's had at Kimberly Oaks. So I know that folks have requested routinely the speed enforcement in the subdivisions, and we're doing our best to deploy some resources there also. Last thing is just a quick comment on the school bus. As most of you probably have heard, or maybe you're not aware, the Bedford School District has some cutting-edge cameras that are on their vehicles for the school year for violators of the red lights. Unfortunately, there has been a small glitch in their system. I spoke with Mr. Dupree yesterday with the Transportation Department, and although they've got the video captured, they're having some difficulties playing that back and being able to extract it from the cameras. However, she informed me that they have in excess of 12 violations already in the last 2 weeks that are captured. So we will be enforcing those. As some of you may know or others may not, the law changed slightly where we have a little more authority to investigate and ticket those drivers, and we fully expect to issue citations to every violator that we can confirm is involved in this. Additionally, Sergeant Joe Hammond with the Sheriff's Office just picked up a new position. The ISD funded a new sergeant's position. So Sergeant Hammond will be in charge of the school resource officers throughout the county. Some of the other schools have also picked up additional deputies this year. So we are in the process of developing some directed enforcement for some school bus violations, not only here in Bedford, but throughout the county. Okay.
Any update on the Telegraph corridor?
I do. Thank you for bringing that up. That has drastically diminished with our call volumes there. Whether or not our presence has informed these individuals that we have a zero tolerance approach, and they've moved their game somewhere else, which is fine by us. But I can tell you that our calls for service in the last approximately 45 days have diminished almost nothing. We've continued enforcement in that area. Truth is, it's getting more difficult to find those obvious violations that we once had that were very easy to pick out and make traffic stops. Again, these folks are either getting a lot smarter about their business, hiding it much better, or our enforcement is working. I'd like to believe it's our enforcement and our presence over there because, again, our call volumes, as a matter of fact, I checked yesterday, and we have not had, short of the minor rescue calls. The fire department may have some more that we're not aware of, but our criminal violations and traffic stops, traffic violations have diminished almost to nothing.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar, if you haven't paid attention to the meetings, it's the Telegraph corridor, some of the issues we're having with the motels, and I don't need to explain to you all what the issues are. You can probably figure it out yourselves. But yeah, Sheriff's Department's done a great job in cleaning it up. We appreciate it.
It doesn't mean we're going to back off that area, though. It's shown an impact, and we're going to continue to pursue that until it is no longer a problem at all. But like I said, I'm happy to report that it is drastically diminished over there.
Okay. Comments for the Sheriff's staff? Okay. Appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item 4B, swearing in ceremony for Bedford firefighters.
I'm waiting for you.
Good evening. So tonight we have a unique opportunity. We're going to be swearing in 2 new members to the department, and then we also are swearing in 2 new lieutenants to the department. So this is one of those moments that we enjoy to see. So first we're going to swear in to the department as new members. If we can get Christian Deaton and Jessica Rachuba to come up. Christian, and there's going to be another kind of unique thing that we're doing here tonight. As we go further through the list, we're going to start to see a trend. If you guys want to go in front. Christian started when he was 16 years old as a cadet. He obtained his EMT in 2020, obtained his firefighter certificate in Michigan in 2021. He currently works full-time as an EMT, and he is joining the department as a part-time firefighter. Jessica also started at the age of 17, obtained her first responder and Michigan firefighter in 2008, served as a firefighter in Morton Point, and then after that traveled with her husband as they were a military family. So then they did move back to Bedford, and she did join us here with Bedford Fire Department. So thank you.
I could have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the state of Michigan, and Bedford Township? Do you affirm that you will follow the rules and regulations of the fire department and obey the commands of the officer in charge of emergency calls and drills? Will you honestly and impartially perform all the duties of a firefighter and respect and protect the honor and dignities of the Bedford Township Fire Department to the best of your ability, so help you God? Congratulations and welcome to Bedford.
And if you guys want to step off to the side, what we're going to do is we'll bring everyone up for pictures once we get done with the other two, if that works. So the next we're going to be doing is promotions to lieutenant in the ranks. First, if Lucas Frucci can come up, and Carl Arnold. So again, Lucas, this is kind of the trend that we're seeing, and we're very pleased to see this. Lucas started when he was 16 years old, learning in the fire service. Went through EMT in high school, completed his Michigan firefighter training in 2018, completed his Michigan company officer in 2019, obtained his paramedic license this year, and currently is a probationary firefighter instructor in the process of receiving his Instructor 1. He also serves as a captain with Blissfield Fire Department. Carl completed his firefighter training in 2001, obtained his paramedic license in 2008, completed his company officer in 2008, obtained his firefighter and EMS instructor in 2017, and is currently enrolled in the Eastern Michigan Staff and Command Program. Carl also serves as a captain in Ida Fire Department. Tonight, if we can get Chief Frucci from Blissfield Fire Department, we'll be pinning Lucas.
You'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the state of Michigan, and the members you serve with? As a member of the Bedford Fire Department, your fundamental duty is to serve the people, to protect, safeguard, and preserve life, health, and property against fire, and to maintain a proficiency in the fire service. As a lieutenant, will you uphold the standards of your profession and position and never allow your personal feelings nor danger to self deter you from your responsibilities as a firefighter and officer? And will you lead your fire company to the best of your ability with fairness and without prejudice, so help you God? Congratulations.
If we could get everyone up, and we'll go and do.
Yeah, go ahead.
job, Jess. Good job.
Thank you again for letting us come and do this during, a township meeting so we can have some recognition for everything that they're doing. So thank you again.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys very much for your
Thank
service
you.
to this community. We thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5 is public comment, and comments are limited to 5 minutes and for board agenda items only. So if you have a comment for a board agenda item, come on up.
Hi. My name is Sean Ramirez, and I live in Telegraph and Stern. I'm here with my neighbor, and regardless of how many calls are made, the neighborhood is fed up. We've been told by the governor's office and the prosecutor's office to come to this meeting. We want these motels closed down. We're tired of the prostitutes. We are tired of policing our own neighborhood. We've had our homes broken into, our vehicles broken into. I mean, I drive my granddaughters down Telegraph Road and have to explain why these girls are walking down the street. The prostitutes are there in force. They are getting good at hiding from the police, but they're still there. Big time.
We appreciate your comment, but it's not a board agenda item.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was my turn.
Well, there's a
I'm
public
new at
comment
this.
for 2 minutes. If we start that, we'll have beer for 4 hours, but
Okay.
there is a public comment in the end.
All right, we'll
You
keep
can-
that in mind.
Okay. Okay. Any more comments for board agenda items? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business. Approve adding a text amendment to section 16 of ordinance number 41 for noise ordinance. Jody, can you update the public as well why it's on? Yes, we know. We know.
Jody Rector, Planning and Zoning for Bedford Township. At last Township Board meeting, discussion of noise complaints for waste disposal in residential areas was being discussed. Locations were having waste pickup around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had reached out to the discussed at the meeting. Republic Services was the issue we were having. I couldn't get a response, so my desire was to bring it to the board to at least get some direction on where we would like to go forward with amending maybe language restricting it, especially in residential districts. I did reach out to Waste Management, Republic Services, and Stevens Disposal. I did get response from Kevin Shipman from Stevens Disposal. He quickly responded, set up a meeting on the following Monday. Ms. Hirschberger, Ms. Janizak, and myself and Katrina Ingram in the planning department met with him. He gave us great information for routing purposes, restrictions on landfill times, how it would affect his business. And in my memo, I did include those comments. Landfill restrictions, school hours, the number of homes and residential districts that they serve on top of the commercial. We did inquire of approximately maybe a 6:30 time frame, and he felt that a 6:30 might be a little bit more restrictive depending on different times of the week, but he felt that 6 o'clock would not restrict their businesses in residential. However, he was not supportive of putting a time frame on commercial due to the fact that they try to get to those locations most times before loading and unloading, deliveries. Bus routes in the mornings get a little bit more hectic when you're trying to deliver to and pick up for commercial. I did send an email on Friday, September 9th, and talked to Eric Zeldorf at Republic Services, and as of today, I still had no response back from anyone that was included in the email on a time frame. I believe there were 5 other, there was a Jake, a Larry, and himself as operations, a Brian was operations, and I'd never received a response back from them on setting up any additional time frame. So if anybody has any questions for me or comments, I did include a portion of the ordinance and just a proposed language of just adding the residential. I believe that we agreed that in the meeting, we do not want to hinder the business of especially delivering in pickups for commercial districts. So,
Okay. Give me 1 second. George, can you hear me? Somebody would open up that side door. I'm getting text that they can't hear us on Buckeye. Okay. All right. So we'll just make sure we speak in our mics a little better then. So, okay. Continue on. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Okay. I'll tell them, call Buckeye.
And I will just comment for the public that Joe from the call center, Waste Management, of course, is a corporate facility, and Joe from the call center was reaching out. He clearly advised me that he understood the ordinance requirements because he was actually pleasantly surprised that we didn't have anything that restricted it in a residential district, knowing that there are other noises that we have restrictions on.
Okay. So what's the recommendation?
My recommendation would be what's in the proposed language to just
six.
add, it shall be unlawful for any person or firm, corporation, authorized disposal service or garbage disposal services or garbage collection, that is all within the ordinance as it exists, to provide such services before 6 a.m. in a residential zoning district is all that I would propose to be changed and added.
Okay. I just wanted you to read it for the public.
That's fine. And then the remaining of that proposed language is already in the ordinance.
Okay. Comments, questions, board members?
Jody, I'm assuming our ordinance department will be enforcing this if they get a complaint in video like the last time, and they'll go out and issue citations or warnings first, or how is that going to work?
Mr. Camprath?
Well, that would be in the discretion of your ordinance enforcement department, depending on, I guess, the extremity of the violation. And they have the discretion to write a citation or to give a warning.
And what are usually the fines for the citation? Because I would
I've
have
not
to
seen
assume,
one. I don't know. It would be a misdemeanor.
Okay,
I-
but a
I
large
pres-
corporation like Republic could probably care less about a $500 ticket. We're going to have something that's going to sink their teeth into. Or
It's
something.
not that much as it is now, I can tell you that.
Right.
I can say that when we were talking, it was said that if there's a ticket sent, it'll go to the driver. The company will not pay for it.
Okay. And that was from Republic? Because it seems like our only issue
No,
is
that was
Oh.
from Stevens.
Yeah, our only issue has been Republic, from what I understand.
Right.
And they haven't been a good company to deal with at all.
But he assumed that they all work the same way. The company's not going to pay the ticket. If the driver does something, they're going to get the ticket.
Okay.
Any more comments, questions? Mr.
I'm-
Mondra?
I'm still against this, whether it's 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I still think it's a first world problem if I've ever heard one. And I don't know if we should we also have the ordinance that we should just not have garbage service at all? Because I think we have residents in the township that work midnight shifts, so they sleep during the day, and we probably have people even here today that take naps that you have to, or that we're even dignifying this complaint with the time we've spent on it, to me is as silly as it gets, that we're even taking it seriously. A garbage truck coming early in the morning, if that's our biggest problem, then whatever. But that's my thought. It doesn't make any sense.
Ms. Hirschberger?
I was just going to say, I think it falls with any of the other complaints we have. People don't like tall grass in their neighbor's yard. They complain, we cut it. I think it just falls with everything else. We get complaints, we follow through, and we do the best that we can. We can't pick and choose what people complain about. We just try to fix what we can. And Stephen said that 6 a.m. would work fine for them. It wouldn't affect them at all. So if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion that
see.
we go with the text amendment to add the language before 6 a.m. in a residential zoning district.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported. Is it Mr. Gore?
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I would add that time will tell whether garbage prices go up even more again due to due to this change in the ordinance. We'll see.
Well, if they do, it shouldn't be because of this, because they sat with Stevens and they said it wouldn't affect them.
They said, one company said it in a hypothetical. That's what I said. Time will tell.
Yeah. Mr. Camper?
I guess I'm looking for clarity on the motion. We do not yet have a final form proposed ordinance. This would be a general code ordinance developed and in front of you to review and approve. So I'm wondering, is the intent of the motion to direct the planning department and legal counsel to proceed with development of that final ordinance for then consideration and approval?
No, this is just a text amendment.
Correct. Text amendment is something that,
It's already in existence. We're just adding this verbiage.
but it would take a ordinance document to be signed and endorsed by the township. And I don't know as if this entire thing was intended to be the addition or not. I'm just looking for clarity on that.
Yes, when we talked to Phil, he said that if we add this verbiage, this is all we'd need to do to put this in place. Is that your understanding too?
I believe it still has to go through the process of what a text amendment is for the general code ordinances. When it's a zoning, it goes through a public hearing, but this ordinance would just be presented to the board. But I believe we needed to have direction because it was given to me to meet with the services to provide the language moving forward for residential. As it's written in the proposed language is exactly how it is in the ordinance as it stands today, other than adding the red highlight. It is just a paragraph form under the noise ordinance in the general code. Can I approach Mr. Camprath?
Marty, could we approve it as is, and if it needs to be changed, it could always go to legal and then come back to the board? If it is an issue the way we're doing it now?
Yes.
So, I mean, we could always approve it as is. If it's an issue, we'll come back.
Perfect.
If not, we'll keep moving forward, so. Okay, call the roll, please.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mrs. Janusek?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montre?
Nay.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, and the motion passed 6-1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Okay, item 8A, vouchers for payment. Ms. Hirschberger?
Like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $60,375.84. Fire District Fund, $13,221.89. Park Operating Fund, $90.28. Fire Equipment, $4,940.82. Downtown Development Authority, $3,964.25. Library Operating Fund, $5,134.96. Transit System, $60. Enchanted Forest, $3,814. Canterbury Forest, $1,271. Building Department, $6,232.36. Sewer O&M Fund, $462,416.96. Trust and Agency Fund, $652 for a grand total of $562,174.36.
Support.
Okay, motion supportive from Ms. Januzak. Discussion?
Paul, I'd just like to note that the reason the sewer O&M is so high is because $458,957 is for the sewer bond payment.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Janusek?
Aye.
Mr. Montre?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, and the motion passed 7-0. Okay, item 8B, appeal regarding land combination restriction on 7515 Nottingham and 3746 Orbert Drive. If Ms. Trinsdale would like to come on up. Mr. Krampus, if you'd like to give a little brief history on this, or Or you just want to let the residents speak to the issue first? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I would like to split these properties that were previously split. They're in two different subdivisions. I believe it was unconstitutional for the then township to apply a new ordinance on a building that was already there for 22 years. And it's actually caused me quite a headache to have a house empty along with this parcel sitting there. And I'd like to sell the house so someone can enjoy it and keep the structure. And I don't think it would be really out of line to ask that when I do sell the parcel with the garage on it, that it is written down that there has to be a house built.
Okay. Comments, questions, concerns?
I mean, I believe my parents were treated as repeat offenders, not getting a permit. This is over a permit that my dad added on without a permit, but they previously already had like 6 permits that they did do, so it wasn't something that they were repeat offenders, you know, trying to get over on the township. And
Okay.
I think it's unreasonable to ask me to build a house on that property at this time with the cost of construction materials and everything. I'd be putting a $300,000 house in a $200,000 area. So I would love to separate this, and it's been kept up.
Okay.
I mean, it's not blight at all. It's probably one of the nicest structures in that neighborhood, actually.
Okay. Mr. Crapper?
This is a matter that I guess arose in 1996, more than 25 years ago, when the then property owners, I think it's your parents, no doubt, had a residence and an adjacent subdivision lot with a non-conforming accessory building on the adjacent lot without a principal use to which the accessory building must be an accessory to. Apparently, there was an expansion of that building, that accessory building, non-conforming accessory building, and the property owners came in and requested from the Township Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance to allow the non-conforming accessory building to remain on this property without a house on it. And that, in fact, I believe was granted to them with the conditions that if we grant this to you and allow you to expand it further, that you will combine your residence lot with the adjacent lot containing the accessory building, so everything is then conforming. So they willingly entered into that restriction agreement, and it was recorded in 1996. And if they had a change of their mind or didn't like the Board of Zoning Appeals decision, which they requested that decision, they had 30 days to appeal that decision to a circuit court. That is the process of the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is a autonomous body. This township board does not have any jurisdiction to grant appeals or changes or to undo what the Board of Zoning Appeals decides. So this is a matter where we have a non-conforming structure on a otherwise vacant lot. In other words, there's no principal residence associated with it. And I'm sure that if this were allowed, people all over the township would like to place buildings, storage buildings, accessory buildings on vacant lots, and it would be a problem, a big problem, precedent set that we don't want to set.
But that was an ordinance in 1996, and 74 is when the building was constructed. There was no such ordinance.
The variance was granted in 1996 because the gentleman wanted to not only keep it but expand it. It might have been a legal non-conforming accessory building at that time. I don't know when it was constructed, but then he requested to expand it, and they willingly agreed to the restriction to tie the two lots together, and they cannot be separated until a house is built to make that accessory building conforming, or it's removed. And there's really no action that the Township Board can take with respect to this matter.
That building's been sitting there for 48 years, looking the same as it has from the day one. Like I said, there's no blight there. And to expect me to build a house right now, I think is really unreasonable.
Have you looked into the
I looked
option
into
of like a barn dominium, like creating that space you have now into a residence?
No.
Well, it's something you could look into. You know, I mean,
Barn dominium?
It's called barn dominiums. They build them all over the country. I mean, you might want to talk to the building
I
department
looked
about
at tiny
that.
houses on wheels.
Well, we have a minimum requirement of square footage in this community. I mean, so you'd have to meet.
You said 1,200 square foot, I was told.
So, yeah, so that would be questions off for the building department. I'm just saying, you know, maybe there's a way for you to get around actually building a house and create something with what you already have. Mr. Matra?
I have a clarifying question for Mr. Camprath. So what you're stating is this real covenant agreement that your law firm put together in '96. What that is stating is that it can't be resplit until a residence is built on that property. Is that correct?
Yes, until a residence is built, which makes the garage or the accessory building then conforming,
Okay.
or the non-conforming structure is removed, or, of course, they can sell them together to the next owner.
So it could be sold. It could be sold as is, or it would have to have a residence built on the adjoining former separate lot. But there's not, and there's not a way. There's nothing we can do, like as far as her suggestion as to, like putting something in the agreement that with a purchase has to, like someone has to build a residence. You can't. It's one or the other. Sell as is. And that's what this real covenant agreement states. Is that
That's
correct?
right.
Okay.
So outside of that, we'd be violating our own ordinance,
Yes.
is what he's saying by Mr. Steiner?
So, Mr. Camperth, once again, since there's already a land combination in place, how could you even build another residential home on that property to be able to fulfill what we're saying a house would have to be built to be able to do a land division?
We would have to make some kind of legal arrangements to handle that, some kind of escrows or something.
Because it'd have to be a guarantee if you did that.
Yes.
Because somebody'd have to put a house and a guarantee that it would also be split.
Yes, because you can't have two
Right.
residences on one legal parcel.
Right. So there's another small glitch in there too. But
Yep.
I guess Mr. Peroni's comment about a barnuminium.
And I could be wrong. I'm just saying it's something to explore.
It may or may not work, but I know that some people have taken that approach in the past.
Okay, any more questions? Ward? We appreciate you being here. I heard the lawyers,
Yeah,
no
apologize.
action we could take,
Yeah.
so
So this,
we don't have the authority.
who has the authority?
Mr. Camper?
God?
No.
I mean,
No one basically.
It sounds
because of
like you're the only one that can be in control of this situation. To either A, take what you have and make it something, add a house, and then I think your options open up as to what you can do, or sell it as one, like you said.
well, I guess I just think at this time it's kind of wrong. I mean, at this time everything's so high. I mean, what would I gain? I would gain nothing. It would have been my parents' hard work for nothing. It cost double what it cost, back in '96 to build a house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Well, you could probably sell that lot as is. I would think with the house and the building on it, you could sell that house for. Get on it. If you get on it now before the housing market completely comes to a halt.
well, I have a problem. There's the garage and there's things in the garage. I have cars in there that are
No.
being fixed, and I can't put them out anywhere else because of the thief. Thieves are out there, and okay.
But yeah, it's because of the covenant agreement that they entered into when they combined it. It's in the terminology within that agreement that, okay, if you're going to do this, you can't separate them ever again unless you are building a principal residence on that secondary lot. And that's why he's saying there's nothing we're allowed to do because it would be breaking this covenant agreement that they had entered into.
Well, it's a shame that my dad had a heart attack at that time and he was in the hospital, so my parents just thought fight for his life and not fight for something they were building anyways to live there forever. So, okay. Thank you for your time.
Sorry, I wish we could do something.
All right.
Me too.
Okay, moving on to 8C, 2022 Streetlight Assessment Resolution. Ms. Hirschberger?
So before you is the street light assessment. These are for the subdivision lights that we spread out and put on the tax bills.
Okay.
Any
Comments,
questions?
Mr. Steiner?
Obviously, nothing goes down anymore.
No.
Do we know approximately what the numbers did? Did they go up by 1% or 2 or 3, 5, 10?
I don't know if Bob has that information. Bob, do you want to come up? It is based on actual usage, though.
Yes, they did go up slightly, and it is based on actual usage. We do expect them to go down as more LED lights come in.
So they're still replacing some with some more LEDs?
Slowly.
Slowly but surely. Okay. So, I mean, again, I know it's by usage, but do you have any idea what the ballpark is? I mean, is it in that, 1-2% range?
It was about a 1%, but I can get you the exact numbers if you
I mean, I don't have to be exact. I was just curious so people have an idea that it's not like somebody's going to hit us 25% increases.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, I know it's not that.
A
but I
buck,
just,
maybe. Buck or two in a lot of
Okay.
cases.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. I'll look for a motion.
I'll
Are we
make
going
a
to do them all
motion.
separate?
What? No, Craig. I'll make a motion that we approve the 2022 streetlight assessment as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 9, comments from the public. Comments limited to 2 minutes. Come on up. And if you don't mind, there's a sheet of paper. If you're standing in line, you could sign on that little table right there. Well, you could come up and sign afterwards if you want, but yeah, that's fine.
My name's Rick Blackwood. I live at 3509 Deepwood in beautiful downtown Lambertville. And there's an ugly rumor going around this town that down here on the corner, across the street from the high school, some doctor wants to put in an abortion clinic. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I am totally against abortion and the killing of innocent children. And if this is a fact, I urge this board to do everything in its power to stop it. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Now I know somebody else wants to say
no, that's not it.
Okay, here we go.
Hello. Do I give my name and address first? Okay. Teresa Poby Mensa, 2147 East Erie Road. Okay. I've stood before you guys before, and you have always done what is best for the people in your community, so I'm here again because without life, nothing else matters. And I thought it was fitting that we were talking about the prostitutes and how we didn't want to expose our children to what that is. The people that come to these abortion clinics, they don't serve and protect women. They don't empower women. They empower pimps and they empower pedophiles. And an abortion clinic doesn't belong anywhere in this community. But if we're concerned about having the pimps and the prostitutes on Stearns, why are we bringing them across from our kids? And I know it's not you guys. I'm begging you to do everything in our power, your power. We're here, so just let us know what you need from us. But abortion clinics, time and again, have proven themselves to cover for abusive men. Little girls go in there. That is not how a woman is empowered. They are first abused, and this covers for it. These people need to face justice, and by covering up crimes against children is not going to be. So please, it doesn't belong anywhere in this community, but especially not next to our babies, because we're bringing the pimps to our children if we do this. So please stay with us. Amen.
I'm Joan Kuzno, 534 Eastern Road, Temperance, and definitely against abortion because I worked 42 years as a volunteer with Heartbeat of Toledo. And the girls that come in here really don't want to kill their babies, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to face life. They're caught unexpectedly. They've been told that sex is free. It's not free. And anyway, after we would help these girls, and then now when they're showing these, oh shucks, what do you call that? You can see the baby
Ultrasound?
inside the womb. Since we got those machines, they see this baby moving at, just a few weeks.
Yep.
And they don't want to abort that baby. Some of them are caught and don't know what to do about it. But if they're given help, they'll keep it, and they're just joyful when it's born. They can't get over it. And they're so glad that they went through it. So we need to help these girls in the right way.
Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Hello, my name is Debbie Pollock, and I'm at 7045 Jackman Road in Temperance. And first of all, I just want to encourage everyone here, we probably all know it, but Proposition 3 on reproductive freedom for all on our ballot in November.
Just make sure you're close enough to the mic or people won't hear you. And I want them to hear this.
This would, the proposal 3 would make Michigan the most pro-abortion state in the country. So I'm asking you all to vote no. I don't talk very loud either. It allows abortion up to and including partial birth abortion and the termination of babies that survive abortions. It allows minor children to obtain abortion, sterilization, puberty blockers, and sex change surgery without parental knowledge or consent. It eliminates screenings of a woman coerced into abortion, removes health and safety requirements of abortion facilities. So, asking everyone to vote no for proposal number 3 on your ballot. A lot of times we go in to vote, not quite sure what all those mean and what, the ramifications are. So I have some forms here.
Hey, Debbie, could you address the board, please?
Sure.
Sorry. I got to follow the rules.
Also, regarding an abortion clinic across from the high school, if that should be something that we're looking at, I think there's a lot of people that have showed up here tonight in the community that does not want that in our community. I think I can speak for probably the majority of us here. I want to know what I can do to stop it. How can we stop that from occurring? And I think it's unconscionable to allow it to occur. I think a lot of people don't realize about abortion is that it's not birth control. A lot of people don't realize, if you've ever heard of the videos, Project Veritas, you could research them, not on Google, go to DuckDuckGo. Take a look at some of the Planned Parenthood videos where they've been caught selling baby body parts, brains, eyeballs, kidneys, hearts. Those are then used in immunizations, medical drugs, arthritis medication, all kinds of things we don't want to know we're putting in our body. I'm just saying that our community cannot support this in any way, shape, or form. Okay. And I know you guys all know that. So thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Your 2 minutes.
Josh Niederkor, 7948 Wiseman Road, Lambertville, also against Proposition 3. I also believe that life begins at conception. And honestly, there's no need for an abortion clinic in this community, especially across from the high school. I think that's just a bad influence for our young children as well. Not a place in our community. Not worth it. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Hi, Stephanie Killinan, 1751 Stony Brook Lane. I just came from Bedford Volleyball, where they are talking about life and suicide awareness and how important life is. Then we're going to turn around and tell our kids that it's okay to kill a baby. So we're sending mixed messages to children that suicide's bad, you shouldn't kill yourself, but yet we're going to take a life of a baby, and there's a problem there. I have to give permission for my children for everything they do at the high school, but a child does not have to get permission to have an abortion. It's not okay, and it's way too convenient here.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Logan Tisdale, 1308 Brandywine Street. I haven't seen so many people here in the 8 years I've been coming. Thank God somebody's here. I'm certainly not in favor of an abortion clinic. When I ran for sheriff, I got the Right to Life of Michigan endorsement, most important endorsement I had. I don't know how you believe religiously, but life begins at conception. I didn't say that, God did. Jeremiah was called in the womb to be a prophet. David said, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And we cannot allow this to continue. 63 million kids have been aborted in this country. 63 million. Tell me how we can do something to change that. We can't do it here. We have to do it here. We have to say no. We're not going to see any more kids aborted. That we shouldn't have that kind of thing in our community. It's sad as a Christian to see this happening. Because again, if we don't support the right to life, then I don't know what we are going to support. That's the basic life. That's right in our Constitution, the right to liberty and freedom and the right to live. And if we don't do that here, where are we going to do it? It's got to start here, right here. Don't worry about Washington. Let's worry about right here in Bedford Township. Thank you.
I'm Tiffany Cornett, 8665 Lewis Avenue in Temperance. I came tonight just to listen and watch, and the first thing that jumped out at me was within the first few minutes we were saying the Pledge of Allegiance under God. Then we prayed to God, and then the firefighters took a pledge to preserve life. We're not going to stop abortion today. We're not going to end it. That's not what we're asking you to do. What we are asking you to do is everything in your power to not put an abortion clinic in Bedford Township.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. On matters of the township, I'm hoping, have there been any other thoughts on a cow meeting for the ARPA monies? And I really do wish we could get more than 2 minutes at the end of the day. We have a lot of things to take care of. We all have a right to get FOIAs to ensure that we have full disclosure. Backtracking on the deer issue, I have been in touch with the DNR, and I have some communication I will be sharing with the board members. You have to have a permit, and they do ask that we have a legal place to dump them that is proper. So you will get all that. I will go tomorrow and see Trudy and have her copy that. And the big concern was that we had a spotted deer that was in that dumpster there on Whitman Drive. Secondly, pocket parks. I wish legal could do an evaluation on the legality of residents making improvements to pocket parks for their own personal use. Number 3, the entire noise ordinance needs to be simplified. It is broken down in bits and pieces, and noise for one apparently is not fair for another, but at the same time, all noise concerns shouldn't need to be addressed. We need to up it. We've got too many people here to allow that stuff to happen. Number 4, the BZA, conditions that are placed on properties. That's a good thing. and that's what happened, and those should travel with the property. We recently had another situation of the same thing. Conditions were placed, and it did not follow through, and that was on Crab Road. And then lastly, number 5, the parks. I went to the meeting. I'm one of the few that do. We have some real problems and issues, especially with work orders, and we have tied our maintenance people up with weeding the plantings that the Green Committee has put here at the Township Hall. The Green Committee should weed what they plant. And the maintenance needs to be allowed to take care of their essential duties. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments?
Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. I haven't seen a crowd like this since they were messing with marijuana. I attended the park board meeting too. I went there to principally talk about the basketball courts, which were underwater. They were poorly designed, poorly installed, but they tell us they're going to be fixed. But you folks have a terrible communication gap between them and you. You really need to fix it. You got to spend some time. They are calling you names, you're calling them names. You're not communicating. And our parks are one of our greatest assets. And so you should have some serious concern about what's going on at the park board. They should have some serious concern about communicating with you their concerns. So that's my point. I went over there the other night, and the basketball courts were still underwater, but they said they're going to fix it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments?
Ken Gagne, 8311 Lambert Street, Lambertville. I don't know how many people work in the Township Hall, but I believe they're on the whole 4 sides, east, west, north, south. I don't know why anybody would have to call and say there's tall grass at the intersection. The grass, I believe, has never been cut at Dean and Secor. Political signs got put up there. You couldn't hardly see the signs. There's still 3 or 4 there, and they're not really visible. But why does an individual have to call and say the intersection needs to be cut when everybody goes by the same corners that I go by? Facebook had an article about Dean or Douglas and Stearns. People couldn't turn left because they couldn't see the sign. But the way it read is it was hard to turn right when you couldn't see the sign or the intersection. That guy, he cuts his yard, but he don't cut between his driveway and the road. I don't think an individual has to call. We have ordinance people. They go up and down the highway. Can't they see anything? Can't they see the same thing I see? And the other thing I'm going to touch base on just briefly is I'm with Mr. Montroy. That garbage truck comes 1 day a week. And you're complaining, you spend a lot of time on this ordinance about the noise. It's 1 day a week in the development. My street has Stevens and Republic. Republic comes up, picks up a neighbor, 1 bag. I asked the driver, I said, is this feasible? Well, they think so. 1 little bitty bag. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments? Come on up.
My name is Christine Stafka, address 1008 Rouk Road. I am also strongly opposed to the abortion mill that's potentially coming in to Dean and Jackman. I would ask anyone, especially the board, who is either pro-life or pro-choice who has never been to an abortion mill to go, because I think many people take a stance, but they have never actually been there. There's a clinic in Toledo, and I grew up near one, and people call them health clinics, people call them women's centers. They push that it's an OB/GYN that's coming, and when you go there, the women are often alone if they're accompanied by a male. They used to drop them off and go get 7-Eleven and sit in the parking lot and eat their chips. And they're coming grimly out of this building by themselves. Another concern of mine is the Toledo one that's looking to come across our border is being pushed out because of the heartbeat law. Right now, they send women home with chemical abortions, and they take the pill themselves, and they go through this process alone, and they are told that if they encounter problems, to tell the hospital that they have a miscarriage. So this clinic has no accountability for this women that they're helping. There's no way to track it back. So I just encourage you, we are here, we will stand with you. We do not want this. Michigan women deserve better, and our children deserve better. And with all the garbage that's coming on this proposal, you better believe that they will be targeting those kids. So we're with you, we'll help you. We deserve better.
Amen.
Good evening, Savannah Martin, 5262 Pawnee. I come tonight representing the Pregnancy Center of Greater Toledo to let you know that whether or not this abortion facility opens across the border here in Michigan, that the Pregnancy Center is here to serve the women of this township. Pregnancy centers are under a lot of scrutiny right now, and so I urge this board to oppose this abortion facility coming in, but also to remember the Pregnancy Center, to make sure that information that's being shared about Pregnancy Centers is factual. And again, I'm here to remind you that regardless of what abortion facilities are cropping up, as many of these residents have already shared, pregnancy centers are excellent alternatives. We are helping these mothers with education. We're helping these women with their health care. We're helping them with tangible needs. And so at the end of the day, not only does Toledo not need abortion, Bedford does not need abortion, because organizations like the Pregnancy Center, like our area churches, actually have all of the resources that these women need. So again, urge you to do everything in your power to stop this from coming in, but also to remember that excellent agencies like the Pregnancy Center exist to help these women. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate Ellerton, 1040 West Temperance Road, Temperance. I want to direct our attention, and I'm also the pastor at Compelled Church. I want to direct our attention not to the possible abortion facility that's coming in, but Proposal 3. If Proposal 3 does not pass, then we're good. We have got to vote no on Proposal 3. We don't understand that this is not just legislation. This is a constitutional change and an amendment to our Constitution that cannot be undone. This is an extreme pro-choice, not even pro-choice, it's just a law that is so extreme, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, you would not be for this law if you really read it. It undoes decades of banks on the river for abortions and abortion facilities. It takes away parental consent for abortion. My kids, I had to sign them if they had to go cough and get their, get their physical for wrestling and football. I had to sign a consent. Kids would be able to go to school. It would lift the law allowing anybody to help them, educators or administrators, and I'm not saying anybody in our school district would do that, but in Michigan, they could help them, even transport them. They would be protected according to the state constitution. It not only does that, it allows late-term abortions up to the moment of birth, and that is up to the doctor. But you don't even have to be a doctor to perform abortion under the new Proposal 3. You can be any healthcare professional. This is unregulated. Also, it opens the door wide open on the ban on tax-funded abortion would be abolished. The 1846 law and the 1931 would be abolished. Screening for women who have been coerced to have abortion, that would be abolished. Proposal 3 is so bad. And I want to remind us, Proposal 3 and abortion, there are two victims in abortion. I've been a pastor since, I'm done, right?
You can wrap it up. Go ahead.
I've been a pastor my whole life and counseled numerous women that live in depression and sadness for decisions they made when they were teenagers. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? We really appreciate everybody coming. If you, oh, you've already.
Let's go again.
You can't. I'm sorry. But you could tell your wife what you wanted to say, and she could come on up.
Cindy Ryder, 4135 Casey Drive, Lambertville. Can I ask you guys a question, or is that not allowed?
You can. We
You don't have to answer? Okay.
Well, we just don't. We do our public comments, and we'll address everything.
Okay. I didn't know if there was some kind of law that within the vicinity of a school, you know how pedophiles can't be close to a school. Do you know if there's there is no kind of law that, okay, that was my question, and I just wanted to second everything everybody else had said here. Thanks.
Okay.
My name is Dan Ellis, 7312 Elmwood Road in Temperance, Michigan. I've been blessed to live in one of the greatest countries. I believe that with all my heart. And I've been blessed to live here in Temperance, Michigan. People like you on this board have afforded me the opportunity that I have. And I think we need to speak up to be a voice for this future generation so they can have the same glorious blessings that we've enjoyed as well. Thank you.
Amen.
Hi, I'm Ava Cole, and I go to Bedford. I live on St. Anthony Road. Do I have to say my exact address? Okay, 4657 St. Anthony Road.
Okay.
So I go to Bedford, and when I heard about this, my heart was pretty much broken because I've grown up in a loving church, obviously. I have a strong relationship with the Lord, and it broke my heart when I heard this was happening because as a young woman, I feel like this is so terrible to do to our own bodies because it's not even our body anymore because we are growing something else inside of us. And the biggest and greatest gift that a woman could have is motherhood. And I strongly believe in that. And even if you are not fit to be a mother, there are so many mothers out there that are fit. And there are so many infertile couples that live on their lives having no children. And the fact that people are getting abortions when there's a chance to give someone a child of their own is just straight up evil. And I do not believe in that. And I believe that we should put up an adoption agency or put money towards other adoption agencies to help us fund and for foster care systems. That's what we should be funding. We shouldn't be funding the murder of children inside of the womb because just because they have a potential to life, that's potential. That means they have potential in the future to have something inside of their life. And I'm definitely for that because when they grow up, we should be ministering to them and telling them that they have a value to their life. This is a debate on what you think the value of life is, and the value of life is you're living. And it doesn't matter if you grew up a rape baby. It doesn't matter if you grew up in a bad home. Does that mean that you should just die? If you grow up and become a teenager and you become addicted to drugs, or you're in a bad home, or you grew up in the if you grew up in the foster care system, does that mean that you should just die? So,
thank you for your comment. Okay.
Hi, I apologize. I didn't even know this was happening. So, came from a volleyball game at the high school. My name is Erin Gill. I have to say where I live. All right, 6836 Clearview. And so I am a teacher at the high school. And first of all, Ava did an amazing job. She's one of my students. She's, heart of gold. I think she could agree that what we see at the high school, unfortunately, is so much misinformation for young
Hey, Aaron,
people.
could you just address the board, please?
I didn't know who I talked to.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know if
It's okay.
what we're doing here.
It's okay.
All right, stay in a circle and walk. So,
Well, I had 10 seconds. So.
all right. So basically, there's just so much information for these young people. They don't understand what's really happening inside a woman's body because they've been lied to. And so as in a school, it's difficult, folks. We can't say a whole lot, right? We're so restricted as teachers, but their fellow classmates will share. And what I see when some of these girls hear truth about that there's, two separate DNA at conception. I mean, my own babies, I had twins. We heard the first heartbeat at 4 weeks. When these kids hear truth, all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, they start to realize like that's a life in there. If you put an abortion clinic up across from a high school, you are damaging them even further and not allowing them to really understand the value of life. So I beg of you, please do not put this there. We need more churches. Like what Ava said, we need centers that can help these poor girls who don't know what to do, but they need to hear truth. And that's what we need to do, is offer them truth and hope and love and support, and not a death sentence for their child. So thank you for letting me talk. Thank you.
Okay, any more comments? Going once? Going twice? Okay, all right, we're going to move on to comments from township board members. Mr. Steiner?
Should I get to go first again?
Mr. Bruning?
No, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead. But we'll switch it up next time. I will come right out and say that I do not disagree with anyone here this evening. And I really have to give kudos. Was it Ava? Yes. I've got to give kudos to this young lady. She's the youngest in the room, I think, that came up here to speak. And we've got generations in here from Ava all the way on up. And everybody seems to be thinking alike. This is Bedford Township. I will say we do live in a generally conservative community. And there's one thing that, as a government entity, there's certain things, as you heard, just like the property situation earlier, there's certain things we can do, certain things we can't do. But I will say that if there's anything that we can do, that I'm going to support what you're asking for. First off, it's what can we do legally? If there's anything legally, I'm a definite yes to legally take a position and a stand to protect the people of this community and protect life. I just wish, again, I'm going to pick on Ava again. This girl's got some education on what's going on here. She's got more education than many people in this country that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. Because they're listening to what somebody just says. They're going to the internet and they're just reading and believing. And it doesn't just go to abortion or beliefs about specific subjects. It's everything in our world today. People don't know how to educate themselves. And it goes right down to even voting for people, voting for propositions, for ballots. People don't educate themselves, and we get a lot of things wrong because of that. And I really hope that our country does a pretty good, sizable direction change in this next election. You've heard many people say it. I know people have said it on both sides, that this is probably one of the most important elections. I know it is in my lifetime. I know many of you will agree. You've probably said the same thing. 1,000% behind that. Sometimes it's not always what you think. You really need to think on what is right. Many people don't think about what's right. They just think and don't think about the consequences. And as we've heard this evening, there's consequence upon consequence upon consequence of what can be maybe one single decision. So I won't keep going on that. I could probably, agree with you all night long, and I know other board members probably going to say similar things. I shouldn't assume that, but this is Bedford, so I'm going to make a little assumption there. I'm going to switch gears here. The ARPA funds, I know the last meeting, Mr. Peroni brought it up again about potentially having a committee of the whole meeting. I followed up on the 12th of September, sent a message to the board members requesting a potential committee of the whole so we can talk about spending ARPA funds. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with what ARPA funds are. Those are the Recovery Plan Act funds that Bedford Township, we have received $3.3 million. That money has to be spent, I believe it's the end of 2026, or we have to return it. Everything has to be planned, though, a year prior to that end date. We have to have projects in place. We have to have the right things in place. Again, things we can do for the health, safety, and welfare of this community and do some good things for Bedford. So this meeting, I did get a message back from Mr. Peroni. He talked with the other two full-timers, Krista and Trudy. They sent me back 13 items that are suggestions to put on this ARPA list. I've volunteered to start this list in a tracker, trying to put some funds to it, what we think it would cost, and get some true estimates what it would cost, and if we do enact it, how do we go forward, how do we plan it, and then how do we spend the money, and are we staying within that budgetary number. I've got about 9 items of my own that I have for this list. I sent a message back to the rest of the board. I encourage you, please get me any ideas you may have so I can add to this list. It may seem at times that if the list gets too long, we get nothing done, but I think if we have this list where there's 30, 40, 50 things on there, that we have a committee of the whole meeting, we can narrow that down in that meeting, come up with the first top 5 items, and then we target those, or the top 10, we target those. And then we need to decide how to spend these funds. Other than that, like I said, we will turn these funds back to the federal government. There was a lot of restrictions and stipulations. There's still some that are inclusive within the ARPA funds, but there's been a lot of relaxation and things that we can do. So that's a good thing, and I look forward to meeting with the rest of the board on a committee of the whole so we can discuss the ARPA funds.
Mr. Matra?
Yeah. As Joan stated, 78% of women considering after seeing an ultrasound choose not to have an abortion. According to the World Health Organization, the death toll of abortions worldwide is over 30 million just this year, which is 3 times the population of this state of Michigan. A partial birth abortion is when the bottom half of a living baby is pulled out of the womb by its feet, leaving just the head just inside the cervix. A murderer then stabs the living baby in the head with a long pair of surgical scissors and proceeds to vacuum out the baby's brains. This causes the skull to collapse, which allows the murderer to then complete the delivery of the now dead baby. Proposal 3 on the ballot in November would legalize that, completely legal, for full-term babies up to birth. This board is, I think I'm safe that I can speak for this board that we are not in favor of the abortion clinic going across from our high school. Unfortunately, given the circumstances, it's not the type of thing that even comes to this board. If things weren't leaked, it's not coming across our desk as it's something we're going to approve or disapprove. It is something that is by prayer, that if it is able to not happen, which we should be praying just as fervently for any abortion clinic to go anywhere, let alone just because it's in our community. It brings it a little bit more home, makes it a little bit more real, and we should be treating it always with the severity that we're treating it right now. But with that, and that's why I appreciate, I'm trying to think creatively on what is there, what kind of loophole, what can we do to put a stop to it? Can we use ARPA funds and purchase the property, and then that would stop them from being able to lease it? There's things that you can do, but as Pastor Nate and Mrs. Pollock mentioned, if Proposal 3 passes, they'll put one up in Kroger. Make it your mission to tell everybody you know how dreadful Proposal 3 is. Proposal 1 and 2 are pretty god-awful as well, but nothing like the murderousness that Proposal 3 is. Look, like Mrs. Pollock had said and Pastor Nate had said, look it up for yourself, but make that your mission. You got 2 months. Tell every person you know you got to get Proposal 3 to vote no on Proposal 3. It can't pass, because even if we can figure out a way to make this not happen, which you would think, like I think somebody had said, I would think if you're in the middle of the road on abortion, anybody that has a couple neurons still firing would go, yeah, you don't put that across from a school. Like you can't sell liquor within however long, but you can murder babies. It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, if it's not something that's going to come that, oh yeah, that's coming on our next agenda and we're going to vote yes or no on it. It's if we can come up with a solution somehow to loophole it, is it. So be in prayer, and if anybody has ideas, yeah, bring them to us. But Proposal 3 is the thing that we need to put our focus on. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Gore.
So I couldn't agree more with everybody that came out here tonight. As for this board member, I'm an absolute no on the clinic. It has no business in our community, and definitely has no business being within sight of a school. Somebody brought up sex offenders. They've got to be so far away from a school. You can't have marijuana within so many feet of a school. Okay, and to have a clinic right across from a high school is absolutely ridiculous. We can't have that in our community. Unfortunately, this board, and I'm not sure if council will touch on it, there's not a lot we can do, but anything legally we're allowed to do, I will back it. But right now, the power's in the people. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the power is in the vote. If we're not liking something in Lansing, we have to vote. If we're not liking something in D.C., we have to vote. We're not liking Proposal 3, we have to vote. We can't just say, you know what, I'll skip this one, the other people have got it, and then we get a mess. There's several states out there that do have a Death with Dignity Act, where if somebody's terminally ill, deemed by 3 doctors, then they have to be of sound mind, deemed by like 3 psychiatrists, then they can do what's called Death with Dignity. If Proposal 3 passes, our 13-year-old girls don't even need a psychiatrist to say they're of sound mind, and they don't even have to tell their parents. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then they can get a ride from school by a teacher without a parent's approval? I got to jump through hoops just to go on a field trip. They have to do a background check just so I can go on a field trip with my kids. So again, folks, the power is sitting right in front of us right now, and that's you. Get out and vote. Vote down Proposal 3. Keep the pressure on whoever is, if the rumors are true that this clinic is possibly going in, keep the pressure on them. Let them know we don't want it. We're not going to tolerate it in this. So, other than that, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the week.
Mr. Brewing?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. This is the kind of turnout that we need.
Yes.
I mean, like everyone's already touched on, our hands are tied. If we can't stop him from going in, if he has the proper permits, it's zoned, it's up to the landowner. You put pressure on him, that he's the one who can stop it dead in its tracks. We will do everything in our power, whatever we can do to prevent it from going in, but it's something that wouldn't even come to us. It's if the guy who owns the property allows it, it's on him. So that's where the pressure needs to fall, is on him. And like everyone else has said, you better get out there and vote this time. Don't think it's just going to pass or it's going to be fine or someone will take care of it for me. This is going to be an important one. And then on a lighter note, go blue.
Ms. Januzak.
Well, I'm just going to change topic here for a bit. I want to thank my girls in my department for tax season. We had a successful tax season this season. Currently, we have collected about 95% of the taxes that have been billed out. That is pretty typical for this time of year. Everybody have a safe and wonderful rest of your week and a great weekend.
Ms. Hirschberger.
On that note, I want to remind everyone that if you have applied for an absentee ballot, they will be going out the first week of October. And I am holding our last class for anyone who wants to be an election worker. If you've already submitted an application and you're not signed up for the class and you haven't taken the class this year, please contact us. My last class is going to be held on the 22nd, so get a hold of us right away if you're not in that class and you still want to work in the elections. And lastly, I want to remind everyone, surprised Gail didn't do it, Adopt a Road is September 30th through October 2nd, so please watch out for them as they're cleaning up the sides of the road. That's all.
Well, like Mr. Bruning, thank you all for being here. It's exciting to know we have so many like-minded people. But like's been talked about so much tonight, Proposition 3 is what really needs to be focused on. I can tell you this, for 3 weeks straight, this is all I've dealt with and talked about, and a few people in this room can attest to it. I apologize, I don't have time to get back to all the emails, texts, phone calls. It's been overwhelming, my office, and but I'm doing the best I can. I've been in multiple meetings. I've spoke with the owner of the building multiple times. I've met with local leaders. I've called representatives throughout the whole state. And I've been assured by the owner that this isn't coming. So take it for what you will, but that's at the end of the day what I've come with. So, you know, whether it happens or not, I mean, the bigger end of the deal, like I said, is Prop 3, but I've been assured there's no lease in place and this isn't happening. Some of you might say, well, there's an LLC out there with the address. Well, he doesn't know anything about it from what I've been told. So, like I said, I can only go off of what I'm being told, but from what I understand, it's not coming. So then if something down the road does happen, then we'll look at it at that point. But like many board members have said, we've looked at 1,000 feet within the school, 1,000 feet within, and we cannot put something in place that we cannot defend and that will lose in court in the end. We've looked at 1,000 feet within a hospital in case of emergency. The thing is, like Mr. Montre said, is medical is all under one umbrella. They're not a bunch of different separations. Oh, chiropractor. It's all under one. That facility right there is medical. It's a medical clinic. So the time the board can step in is for a change of use. And a lot of people don't know this. So if you have a building that's zoned C3 and you have a gas station there, and then 2 months later it sells to a child care, that's a change of use, even though they're zoned the same. So when you have a change of use, it goes through a whole stringent process. That's when the board can have a say and get involved. But when you have a property only going where there's no change of use, we won't even know unless they pull a permit for plumbing or tearing a wall down or structural issues. Then, you know, at that point we could say, well, hey, we're going to have issues with parking. And at that point we can, you know, slow things down. But ultimately, everything you're here for tonight, I mean, it's just a Band-Aid till November. If you've ever been fired up about anything in your life and you care passionately about saving babies, get fired up about Prop 3. Talk about it to everybody. Because I'm going to tell you something. I've been involved in a lot of campaigns. If you read the headlines for this, it's Let me just read what it says. It's right to reproductive freedom. It's pretty catchy. Sounds pretty good to the average person. That's what they did with medical marijuana 10 years ago. You people didn't realize that this was going to grow in your backyard. 60 plants stinking up your neighborhood, smoking bongs in your backyard, average Joe. This is what they do. They're good at it. I'm going to tell you something. They're good at making you think something that's not. This isn't their first rodeo. Guess what? A lot of people probably in here voted for that. They said AIDS, glaucoma. They got to your heart. But it wasn't that. There's a lot in this bill that they just aren't going to come out and say. The things you heard tonight, you got to get 12 million people to hear it. Otherwise, it's going to pass. Because I'm going to tell you something. The people that are fighting for it have millions. And the people are fighting against it have hundreds of thousands. Money drives it. Money can get letters in your mailboxes. Money can get ads on the TV to make you think something like that it's going to catch your feels. People give money overseas every day if somebody from another language calls and tells you your kid's in jail. We've got to be better than this. If you put anything about this on Facebook, they're going to censor it. I have 20-something thousand people on my pages. I put something on there, I got one like. You're going to have to be creative because we're behind the ball already. So people wake up because it's coming. It's going to come hard. So we need to be proactive. Go get flyers. Get involved. Call your representatives. Call Right to Life organizations in Monroe and Lansing. Get fired up. Because if we just kind of come to a meeting and then go home and expect us to make the change, it's not going to happen. You're going to see Michigan a whole new state. So please leave here with a fire in you. So, to Mr. Gagne, we are complaint-based only. So our ordinance does not drive around this community and look for violations. So I had that on an agenda item to be voted on, so we are not complaint-based, because I think if our ordinance drives around and sees an illegal burn or a camper or a boat that's got weeds in it in the front yard, we should be able to handle it. Our board did not vote for that. So we are complaint-based. You have to call. If you have tall grass and you call us, at that point, we have to send a letter to the owner of the property, and there's a process for us to be able to cut it. It takes sometimes 20 to 30 days. So don't feel like we're dragging our feet. We're just following our ordinance and the law. So that's where we're at with that. If you have an issue with somebody's grass or a corner, somebody owns it, just call us and ordinance will get right on it. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Frederick with the park board, I mean, we've been in constant communication. We have a liaison that goes to every board meeting. At the end of the day, I just think it's been a tough way for them to go on the park board, and they're having some struggles. We're doing the best we can to work with them. But when you take a basketball court and you don't have a designer and you just kind of hire a contractor to just say, hey, go ahead and put up a... we're doing the best we can. And ARPA funds, I've encouraged the board, give us your ideas. This board put together a board. I don't think the end all be all, if us getting together at a separate meeting is going to really make much changes. I mean, we had a great meeting yesterday and a lot was discussed. I think we're tracking a lot better now that we got our feet wet with the committee. Nikki's doing a great job. So I wasn't really sure that we were going around to the route of you making the list. I was more of the understanding that Nikki, the chair, was going to take all, because when I send the email, I said send it to the, I think I even said send it to Nikki? But we should be sending all ideas for ARPA to the ARPA committee chair, and she could put together a list. But a couple other things for a save the date, the 100th anniversary for the senior centers coming up. That is October 7th from 4:30 to 6:30. We have a new director over at the senior center. A lot of great things are happening over there. A lot of great things for seniors, so get involved. I wanted to talk briefly about community cleanup. Is this Saturday at Indian Creek from 9 to 3. If you have unwanted junk laying around, now's the time to take it and dump it for free. Highly encourage residents to, Stevens provides that service, and the township budgets for that every year. It's been a great thing. So, yeah. Other than that, we had our annual roads meeting for the federal aid and for our regular road meeting. Krista and I are teaming up now and going to all the meetings. So we're both of us are going to those. Some cool things happening from Telegraph all the way to Secor. They are going to be paving both shoulders for 4.5 miles. So that's really nice. So you'll see a paved shoulder. A lot of these areas you go down, you see the edge road's gone and it becomes a hazard and dangerous. So we are looking in to if we could see a bike lane and see if that was something that would work. We know it would be astronomical, but we are looking at it. Another project we're getting a lot of calls from is Samaria. Why did they pave the up to Lewis and didn't pave the rest? Because they were waiting for the water project to finish. We don't want to put our pavement down and have them tear it up, and so next year they are repaving that whole stretch, and they'll be paving the shoulder as well. The roundabout was discussed. It's a 2024 project. Obviously, the board voted to get estimates and bring it back. So that's happening right now. The board will be seeing discussion and estimates on the roundabout. So that'll be coming. And a lot of maintenance project. This board has spent millions of dollars on your local roads and your primary road system, and it was urged by Chris and I to protect the asset. We didn't spend $12 to $14 million to watch it deteriorate. So we are stressing to the road commission, put the chip seals down if it's the best way to go about it. Crack seal. And so we're hammering on them to really maintain our asset. And we have a lot of local roads that are going to be maintained. I think the big project we're going to try to work on next year that we're looking at is Erie Road. It's been neglected for a lot of years, so we're going to be touching on that. I am getting calls about dust control. Keep in mind we do dust control. It's chloride twice a year. That goes on the dirt roads. And basically throughout the whole season it keeps the dust down. And some of you might say, well, why do you spend money on dirt roads but not the local roads that are paved, the neighborhood roads? Well, if you've ever lived on a dirt road and people go 60 miles an hour, it's a health hazard. So we try to help out the residents, and they do that throughout the whole county. But it's just something that we've done and we'll continue to do. Other than that, the board will be seeing a 5-year asset plan coming from the Manick and Smith, an estimate to see if the board wants to vote to continue another 5-year asset plan. We have to have a plan in place for the future of our local roads where we continue to stick money in. So that's coming. Other than that, just a lot of positive things going on. And like I said, if I haven't returned an email or a call from you, I just can't keep up with them. With all the comments and questions I'm getting, I'm doing the best I can. But I could tell you this, if there's something we can do, we're looking into it. If you have an idea, please call me. If you say, hey, this has happened in this state, they were successful, there's case law, call me. We'll look into it. If we can do something, we can. But at this point, what I'm hearing is it's not coming. So that's all I can tell you about it at this point in time. So other than that, anybody have any comments or questions for me?
Yeah, I want to reiterate, your vote is not enough. Your vote is not enough because they make it that it seems like a good thing. If I know every single thing, I know how a law will actually work out in the end, what will actually happen. If I know all of that, my vote counts 1. Every uninformed wandered in, oh, I didn't even know it was voting day, and I wander in and, oh, yeah, that sounds good, and I vote for something. That vote counts the same as me knowing every detail of exactly what a proposal is doing. You have to get the word out. You have to tell people. You have to tell people specifically, not just your friends who you talk politics with, not people who, oh yeah, I know where they stand, whatever. You need to tell people that are not involved, because those are the people who vote, and those are the people who get fooled by well-crafted proposals. They're worded properly, like Mr. Peroni said. They word them that way for a reason, and uneducated voters fall for it every time. And as educated citizens, it is your responsibility to get that word out. Your vote is not enough. I just reiterate that. Vote no on all three proposals. They're all garbage. If you don't already know that, look it up. It's, yeah, see Mrs. Pollock. She's got the literature. That's all I had.
Okay. With no further comments or questions, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Or adjourned.